Hello Whovians, Crispy Bro here, yes, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for sticking around. I really do appreciate it. You see this face? Appreciation. My bed is not made, I'm going to do that now. That's a bit better. So Series 11, Episode 9, It Takes You Away. If by takes you mean took, and by you mean my breath, it took my breath away? I don't know. Let's just get straight into the review, shall we?
So Crispy, what were your overall thoughts?
Look, I think I genuinely had a good time watching this episode. Like I think this is a good episode. You know, it was very original. It had heart. It kept me intrigued the entire episode. There was not one point when I wasn't stopping asking questions in my head. I'm still asking questions in my head. It also kind of reminded me of like Stranger Things because, you know, it was this whole other world. Obviously, it wasn't the Upside Down and as grim, but it was a whole other universe they were stepping into. So that was kind of cool. And the whole like cabin aesthetic kind of was like very Stranger Things-ish. I don't know. It was Norwegian Stranger Things.
So what was new during this episode? I
really loved the focus of this episode with that being like Eric and his blind daughter. I loved that entire story. I like how Eric wanted to I'm pretty sure his name was Eric. It'd be embarrassing if it wasn't. I loved his motivation. I love it when side characters have actual motivation and they're not just there because, hey, we need side characters. I loved the fact that he wanted to stay in that other universe simply because he could be with his wife. That immediately made you like sympathetic towards him and understand where he was coming from. I really did enjoy that. Whilst I don't agree with a lot of his parenting practices, I felt like those characters were very believable, and I enjoyed that. We also had a bunch of flesh-eating moths because sure, why not? And we also had a guy in prosthetics that died halfway through the episode. Spoilers.
So Crispy, what would you say was your favorite scene?
Literally any scene with Graham in it. He has been an absolute highlight of this series for me, and he's been very consistent. He has reeled me in. I believe that character. I love that character. What this season has done so unbelievably well is Graham and his entire grieving experience, because you can just see from the character and Bradley Walsh's performance that, you know, Graham's just a really upbeat, really nice guy, very talkative, willing to give anyone the time of day. So he's also got like a heart of gold.
So what was your favorite quote from the episode?
Hey, Granddad.
Were there any flaws in this episode?
The one thing that's kind of bugging me this season is that I still feel as though Yaz and Ryan haven't really had their moment. I mean, Ryan was so prominent in episode 1, and I loved everything they were doing then, but they haven't really given him much else. Like he was pretty good this episode because he was dealing with the blind daughter the whole time, and he was very good. And Yaz also got to like use some of her police skills to talk to her, which I found really interesting. But they still haven't had, like, those two characters still haven't had that moment where I'm like, damn, I like you as much as I like Graham. Because as I said before, like, this season has had a lot of focus on Graham and his entire arc and his grieving process, but I feel like that's kind of been more dominant than what both Yaz and Ryan initially like set out. Because Yaz, I think her arc at the start was set up to be taken more seriously in her job, and I guess Ryan's story arc kind of came to a full circle this episode with him finally calling Graham Granddad. It's just a lot to think about. I don't know, I feel like those two characters are so close, they're just not there yet. And also another thing that kind of let me down was the fact that I was so overhyped for this episode, because I saw so much stuff online being like, don't miss this one, oh, this one, you're gonna talk about this one. Yes, I am gonna talk about this one, but not as much as you probably thought I was going to. And that was mainly because of this one scene.
Were there any moments in the episode that made you go, what?
There's a bloody frog! That scene came out of nowhere. That frog. I would never have predicted that in a million years. In a quadrillion years, I would have never have guessed that episode would have had a conscious universe taking the form of a frog. I think they justified it in like one line because they were like, oh, is what Grace liked, and Grace liked frogs, so I'm gonna be a frog. I mean, okay, cool, okay. But that scene just honestly pulled me out of the episode so much. Like, I mean, like Doctor Who fans, we go along with things because the universe is crazy and wild and whack. But as a viewer, I was like, what? I can only imagine someone stumbling upon this. Imagine if this was someone's first Doctor Who episode. They'd be like, oh my gosh, wow, what's going on? Oh, what? A whole nother universe where it's trying to play tricks on people? What? Oh, that universe is a frog? I don't know. Was it just me that scene threw people off? Please let me know down in the comments below. It just shook me.
Did I cry during this episode?
There were a few moments, mainly obviously with Graham and his... There were a few moments where I did like feel a few emotions, you know, as humans do. Mainly during the whole, you know, Grace appearing again and Graham being like, yo, this is great to see you, I'm sorry about everything. And then she didn't end up being real and he figured it out because Ryan, like, he was in danger and Grace was like, don't worry about him. But no, I didn't cry.
What would you give this episode out of 10?
This episode kept me on my feet. It kept me asking questions, it kept me intrigued, and I honestly was not bored for a second watching this episode. There was obviously that one scene that threw me off slightly, but overall, you know, this episode had a lot of heart and it was quite enjoyable to watch. So I will give It Takes You Away a 7.5 out of 10. But hey, that's just my silly opinion. I want to hear your not so silly opinion in the comment below. Did you like it? Did you love it? Did you absolutely hate it? Do you never want to see a frog again? Please let me know in the comments below. And hey, while you're here, just a little crispy life update. I got myself a job and I'm working a lot of hours, so YouTube's gonna be a bit harder to make, but I can assure you I'm going to get that one video out a week at least for you guys, because I care about this channel and I care about you guys, and thank you for half caring about me, I guess. I really appreciate it. So the video that's coming out this weekend will be my interview that I did a while back with a guy that's been in a ridiculous amount of Doctor Who episodes, and he's got some very interesting stories to tell. So yeah, get keen for that one. And that's it. That's the whole video. Please like this video if you dare. Please subscribe if you have not already, and I will see you very, very shortly. Allons-y!